Lady, the problem isn't in my pants. Mex-Men.
They're clearly creeps.
Yeah, the guys who asked for money for their private jets.
Yeah, those guys. Forgot, you know.
It only costs so much to get rid of your sins, you know.
Speaking of sins, original sin.
Yes. Speaking of original sin, that's what we're covering on today's issue of Mex-Men. Gonna be going over issues 0 through 4.
Yeah, because some X-Men appear.
Yeah. And there's a tie-in in Uncanny that the books tie in, so we're gonna do this series to tie in the X-Men books.
Yes.
And
Not
also,
at all because we also want to cover things that aren't X-Men for like a brief moment.
Yes.
Not me.
I begged.
You know what's funny? Is that we're not actually too far off with this because there are two main characters in the book who are X-Men.
Are you counting Wolverine, though?
I am.
Shame on you.
Well,
He doesn't count.
yeah.
We'll be reading everything.
I like Dazzler. She's the only
She
real
counts.
member of the X-Men.
Right? Damn.
Well, no, like Emma Frost counted. She's
I'm actually going to be saying the Dabaris of people.
That's racist, man.
What's racist is that the Shi'ar just named a system the Dabari, and then now those people are stuck with that name. That's racist. They didn't bother asking. This goes into a whole other argument that we were having.
We'll get right back to
Oh,
it. We didn't ask the ants what they want to be called. We just called them ants.
He's got a good point.
So you're saying that the people of the Dabari system were ants, and thus it doesn't
the
matter
Shi'ar, yeah.
that the Phoenix destroyed them.
No, at this point, with them all being gone, you can't ask them what they are. So
Yeah, fair
you just kind of got to name them.
You know, I didn't choose to be called a human either, but here I am.
That's a good point.
No, but other humans decided before
For me?
Yes.
Bullshit.
But people of the same species.
Well, maybe the head Dabari was like, yeah, sure, Dabari's fine.
Okay. Again, agree to disagree.
All I'm saying is I don't see them complaining about it.
Because they're dead.
You're like... No, some live.
No.
Yeah, they did, because they were pissed off at Jean Grey. That was the whole storyline.
Are you again referencing the movies?
No, that happened in the books.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, we didn't read that.
I'm going to defer to you because you're currently reading all of X-Men, like, for fun,
I actually
outside of the podcast.
I didn't get there yet. That's later stuff, but they do come back and...
Then I retract my
on.
support for you.
Yeah,
You
my
talked me
knowledge-
out
Let
of
me
it.
get there and then we just
It's
find out
from
they're
Marvel
ghosts or
fandom.
something.
.com.
What?
When I was looking up the Dabari right now.
Oh. Okay.
They come back and hate all of humanity now, for good reason.
Speaking
Well,
of hating something,
Yeah.
getting to something I love, which is Nova.
Oh, as soon as I started reading this and I saw the Nova, I was like, oh, here's why we're reading this.
Right.
I love Nova, man.
But you know what? This is actually a real, usually zero issues suck. And they're just like an introductory thing. And this is just an introductory thing. It's literally titled, Who is the Watcher? Just so people fucking even know.
Original Sin had a lot of stuff that they put out around the books that usually suck. Because tie-in books and issue 0 books usually suck. And they nailed them.
Yeah, well, because this was actually touching.
Yeah. Well, and like the tie-in books, I feel like are like the best part of Original Sin, which is why we're only covering one of them.
Well, also because that's the only one that's X-Men.
I know.
Alright, so...
But I got a long list of what happens in those that I will read off later.
Alright. Original Sin, issue 0. Kind of just the story of Nova with a twist that it's actually not just the story of Nova.
It's more of the story of the Watcher.
But like through the perception.
Perspective.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. It's definitely more of a Nova story, with the Watcher as, like, the side character. He's,
Well,
like, the second main character. Can only be one.
There can only be one.
Because he's not a side character.
Well,
He's
that
heavily
explains what
prevalent.
happens next.
No, yeah, it is like it is a Nova book, but I mean,
Yeah, it's told from Nova's
mean, 'cause
perspective.
Watcher's
He
on the cover, too.
is the character.
Because spoilers, the Watcher gets got.
yeah.
Whoa.
So there is only one now. But anyway,
There's a bunch of other Watchers,
right?
and also your reference would be like there would only be one before.
No. My reference is into what he was saying, that there could only be one main character. He's talking about between
main
Nova
character,
and
yeah.
the Watcher.
So
and I was saying,
Nova
Yeah, he's
is the one because the Watcher is going to die anyway. So, anyway, let's get to know the Watcher in issue 0.
Let's kill him.
Who's Beast?
It was Beast. The last time we've mentioned the Watcher on this podcast, and it just happened before this, the Watcher went to talk shit to Beast, and Beast is out for revenge.
Right?
You disgust me.
He does have his own spaceship.
He does.
And he's
smart.
frequents the blue area of the moon.
And also has been shown to be able to modify a plane into a spaceship.
Yep. I feel like you're also referencing movies there.
Yep.
Okay.
A bad movie.
Yep.
Whoa.
Called Dark Phoenix.
Oh, but speaking of... Alright, so the telescoping lens, though.
Hey.
That's canon now.
Zdarsky, why'd you do that to me?
Okay, so the book starts with Nova sort of narrating the whole book, really, but he's sort of giving you backstory on his character and how his father was a drunk who all he ever did was lie about being a space cop and having space adventures and missing those times until his dad left them, and then it turned out he wasn't lying at all because he had a space helmet, and it turned out he is a real space guy.
It's really hard for me to not go over the entire origin of Nova right now.
Oh, I know. It's probably also annoying that I just summarized it in that way.
I just want to add that they go to him fighting a space or a tiki butthole.
No. Tiki butthole.
That is a tiki.
The living tombs. What is it?
That is a tiki butthole.
It's the what is it? Totem.
Tamazumi.
The living totem.
Or
That's what it is.
Tamazuma.
Yeah. While he's given this backstory, he goes and he fights Tamazuma, which is just a robotic...
tiki butthole. You can say it.
Well, I think it's supposed to be Mayan. Like a Mayan deity. Like he's saving an oil rig. Like all the people who work there. Because this tiki butthole is destroying it. Then it turns out it's just a robot. And the Avengers show up after Nova sort of saves the day. And they're like, yeah, this is probably like rocks and shit. Because of course they're evil. Which is also a weird thing. How come they never shut them down? If they know it, like a corporation is just like super evil.
Yeah, they just keep on destroying everything. Everybody's like, well, we'll stop them next time they do a thing.
In the courts of law.
Like, they're a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
You can buy stock and just shut them down. Like, Tony Stark could do that.
He actually could.
Yeah.
He'd probably get a lot more done than flying around in a metal suit.
So when you think about it, he's kind of a supervillain.
Well, no, I wouldn't go so far as supervillain, but he's definitely reckless. He's definitely less of a hero. But anyway, not so much more about my second favorite Marvel character.
We'll go into your third. Riri Williams.
No. Oh, man, if only she was involved in this. But he is like, all right, well...
That would be weird. They're like, you're not a character for another year and a half.
This guy's dead. I'm going to go into space and see that bald dude who won't talk to me.
Yeah. His head just grows and shrinks all the time. As especially as somebody who's read all the Nova shit surrounding this, it's so weird how he seems to have the closest relationship with the Watcher, and the Watcher's like the only person the Watcher won't talk to is Nova. He seems to talk to everybody else, but he won't say a goddamn word to Nova.
I was going to say, he talked a lot to Beast.
Well, I think because he's pretty catty. I think,
I see what you did there.
I think because he was just really mad at Beast, and he wanted him to know how big of a piece of shit he was.
He talks when he's mad.
Whereas, like, everything that Sam has to go through to get him to say anything is, like, what probably would normally be like.
I just feel like every time I see the Watcher, he's always, like, talking and is fine about it. Like, he can't interfere, but he can talk and have, like, a conversation. But, like, Nova, he's like, nah, man. It's like he knows his house is being watched and he's actively trying to avoid, like, being labeled as a pedophile.
It's another one of those things we were talking about before we were airing, but when people just write stuff differently. Because sometimes Watcher says nothing, and other times he's just talking up a storm.
Yeah. And I think it was definitely written in a way to be, like, super dramatic so that when he does talk later, it has more gravity to it. Also, that is definitely the name of a pedophile in a comic universe, The Watcher.
Definitely.
Yeah, who watches The Watcher? Turns out it's the government.
They're tapping into all the machines he's got.
Yeah.
Oh man, I almost gave away what we were gonna say.
I mean, it's kind of weird too. He's got all those computer screens up. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I almost made a joke that would have given away literally the entire next episode.
It's like, why does every single one of these computer screens have a school?
He's worse than Xavier.
You can't trust bald people in this universe.
It's a sign.
Well, maybe he and Xavier were like in a race of just like who can watch the most people.
The most
like,
children. You know, when he showed up, he did look like Xavier. Now it's not a coincidence.
At first, when you said a race, I was like, I bet I know who'd win.
Well, I don't know. The Watcher's head's pretty big. He just keep falling over. He's super top heavy.
Yeah, but he can just lean in the momentum and run faster because of how heavy his head is. He's constantly falling while he's running.
Yeah, but it depends also on what wheels Xavier's rocking. You know, if he's got like one of those super like sporty basketball wheelchairs, you know, maybe he's going a lot quicker.
Yeah, but if he has like the wheels off of a grocery store cart, then he's fucked.
One keeps rattling and shaking.
Yeah, why is there always one that's broken?
I don't know. Anyway, so Nova goes up to the Watcher and he's like, "Hey man, I know you're not going to talk to me or anything, but here's a rock, because I assume you wanted a pet rock. It's from that time we all beat up Cyclops because he was right and we didn't want to admit it."
But I like that they
It's
didn't
from my
say
first
that.
appearance.
They didn't say when the Avengers stopped the Phoenix or even dissed the X-Men. It was when the Avengers and the X-Men stopped the Phoenix.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird. Like, I know he's got a rock collection. Here you go, bud.
Yeah. It turns
Add
out
this.
he's got no collection at all.
Just a gun collection.
Right. Okay,
Also, where
does
did he
have that
get
collection.
because I've just kind of looked into getting one of those like little glass mounted.
Oh, you say an
things.
ultimate nullifier?
You gotta like
Oh,
order
like, where do you get one of those ultimate
you gotta
nullifiers?
you gotta like order those offline. And Sam's family is pretty broke, you know, with his dad leaving. So
Right,
you
he
can't
probably
really-
stole it from the Avengers mansion. Maybe there was like a
Makes
baseball that was in there, and he's like, "Well, the Watcher's not going to care about some random baseball." But he showed up for that fight, so he remembers that dirt and those rocks.
It's
like
like
he remembers that rubble in general.
It's got like it's got the signature of everybody who was on the first winning World Series team. And Sam's just like, fuck this. Like, you know, it was Tony Stark's or probably Steve's actually.
Why'd they write the name of a candy bar on here? Get rid of that.
You know, he actually was saying he was going to go see the Watcher to ask him, like, why do you watch? And then he was like, well, what I really wanted to ask was, is my dad alive? That was never brought up once.
Yeah.
Until he actually asked.
That's a weird thing for you to just say.
Well, because he got all of
out there.
his answers about why he
That is
watches.
true.
Yeah.
And he made it sound like that was the question I came here to ask that question.
Yeah. So
I think it's like he was like, all right, I got this one question, and he showed up, and the Watcher answered it before he said anything. Like, was that your question? No. I
It was actually.
was gonna say something else.
So he gives the Watcher the rock in a super expensive glass case that obviously he couldn't afford. And the Watcher just goes into his home without shutting the door, and Sam's like, all right, I guess that means I go in. I just
how
follow
that
this giant... Well, yeah, because now he didn't invite the kid, so he's not incriminated.
Also,
I think that's what that is.
this story would be a lot shorter with Blade. Didn't invite him in.
Oh. I forgot about that, the whole vampire thing. Wait, is he... He's not barred from...
No,
going
I'm
in.
sure
Okay.
he's a daywalker. He can go in
Yeah.
the sunlight. I'm sure your
He can
door.
walk through doors.
Yeah, I've never heard about a Blade storyline where he's just stuck outside a
Just
door.
ends right there.
His secret weakness is just arches. He can't go through an archway. But anyway, the Watcher is suddenly surrounded by a bunch of ghosts, and Sam freaks out, and then his helmet keeps freaking out, and that's a weird thing in it that I didn't understand, that his helmet kept going like all haywire, like he's in danger, because that never paid off in the story. Like
No,
there
it was
was
a waste.
that seemed more like just a call ahead to, oh, some shit's gonna happen to the Watcher, and so there's just ambient danger here, and it just seemed dumb. Like that's the only thing that seemed dumb in the Zero book.
No, all right. The reason is like helmet goes off like that. Like his helmet always goes off for warnings and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a spider sense.
Yeah, so his helmet it knows that there's like crazy shit going around him and he should be in danger, but also like the Watcher's no threat to him.
Yeah.
So the helmet's just kind of confused.
Well, he was in danger because he ended up getting hurt. Not severely, but he had to get out of there.
I mean,
he couldn't take
if
it.
he walks into like a gun store, does he like start freaking out then because he's just happens to be surrounded by guns?
Well, it's like that whole thing is like, is Miles' spider sense like constantly just going off because he's a black kid in America?
Maybe.
Well, because he had to leave. If he wouldn't have left, he would have actually got hurt. And if he didn't have the suit on, he would have got hurt earlier.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he was getting that danger signal.
Did it happen that day?
Yeah, there. He had to leave the Watcher's place because he started, like, freaking out.
Yeah,
no, I'm saying the events of issue 1. Does it happen that day with him? Because that's not really clear. It just seemed like here's an introduction to the Watcher, and then now he's...
I don't think it was going off because of what was going to happen in the future. I think it was just all that stuff he couldn't handle as being a human.
Well, it was definitely within days at least.
It makes sense when he's like in that room with the screens. I'm just saying it doesn't necessarily make sense like all the times up until he gets in there with Uatu. So, oh, by the way, the Watcher's name is Uatu. In case you didn't know. Because I don't think we said it yet. So, then all the ghosts disappear, and Uatu disappears, and Nova's trying to figure out where he went. Then he runs in, like he bumps into the room that is the armory, and sees the ultimate nullifier and a bunch of other shit, and he's like, okay, well this is crazy, gotta get out of this room before I accidentally destroy a planet. And then he finally, after his helmet goes off a few more times, finds where Uatu is, and Uatu's just like watching TV kinda, but it's not TV, it's his past, and it shows...
He's watching home movies.
He is watching home movies. But it basically shows why it is he watches and doesn't intervene.
I've submitted these videos to Bob Saget so many times, and I have yet to hear back from him and his people.
He doesn't... But he's the Watcher. He should know they no longer run that show.
It's still on.
Yeah, I know, but it's not Saget.
Yeah, but he's one of those dudes who just lives in the past.
Clearly.
To him, Bob
he's
Saget
watching
is
home
always going to
movies.
be the post.
So, it's showing that there's a council of Watchers, and that Uatu's father is actually arguing for their the Watchers to start intervening in sentient species' lives to help accelerate them for the better. Like, look, they're super primitive now. If we advance them, then imagine what greatness they can become if they just bridge this gap. Like, instead of it taking millions of years, it takes like 1,000 years.
Yeah, well, you know what? We should give people that barely communicate and all their tools are sticks and rocks. Let's give them nuclear power.
Yeah. And what can go wrong with that? And apparently nothing, so long as they were there. And then they left. They're like, all right, well, we're going to go explore other things. You guys seem to be pretty chill. And then they come back after a while, and everything's ash because they destroyed each other with nuclear war. And
they were surprised about it. They're like, we gave them nuclear technology, and they used it to kill each other.
Yeah, well, I mean, because I guess they're supposed to be that benevolent, right, of creatures. They're above those things. Like,
yeah, they just seem pretty ignorant for people who see everything. Like,
why else would you use it other than just energy to make life easier and comfortable?
Right. I mean, 10 years is a while, though. They watched them for 10 years.
Yeah, while they were there.
It's not a long time to be like, to learn everything about nuclear technology.
Well, I mean, if a Watcher's teaching you, probably.
No, but it's enough to learn about how the people are on the planet. Like, are they hostile? Are they likely to start a war? Like,
I think he knew.
They're gonna do it.
It's his really like weird way of starting genocide.
I mean, because you just go into a Walmart and somebody's starting shit, so you already know.
Yeah.
Like, one day. They were there for 10 years.
Yeah, like I would have gone into Walmart and give everybody nuclear weapons.
Yeah, like, just show up on Black Friday? No. These guys
well, that's
don't
just
get
it
the
too,
power.
right? They didn't give them weapons. They didn't like, and here's how you turn it into a missile. They're just like, here's how this energy is created.
Here's a missile, turn it into energy.
Yeah. They figured out on their own how to package it into a missile, apparently. So they come back, and Uatu's father is super morbid in the idea that like everything's his fault because of his own arrogance and ego, apparently, that he thought that a species was smart enough for nuclear energy. Which maybe even to them, right? Nuclear energy is like low. maybe they thought they were giving them, fucking training wheels.
It sounds like it's low because the Watcher, it says later, had power in his little home or whatever stronger than a sun.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, though, like... Because to us, the difference would be, like, the way we look at, like, Steam technology.
Yeah.
And so, like, we give an underdeveloped, underdeveloped world Steam technology, come back 10 years later, and there's fog everywhere. What happened? They killed each other with Steam!
It's just bathhouse after bathhouse.
Everybody's skin is boiled.
It turns out you fucked up because you gave it to, like, the frog planet.
Yeah, I was gonna say
They all slowly cooked themselves.
Yeah, they didn't even try to war on each other. It just gradually got hotter until they were all cooked.
Anyway, so then Sam is seeing all the things Uatu sees because he's showing, like, all the things he's watched. And there's all this noise. It's everything that's happened within the Marvel Universe, and subsequently all the dimensions that span from the Marvel Universe. And it took forever to find just one picture of Cyclops, by the way. It's like almost all I looked for, and it's like almost the last panel that shows this shit, and like, oh, okay, then finally, Cyclops. Like, they have Danny Moonstar way before Cyclops. Crazy.
Yeah, but not a lot of, like, people there twice. Except for Wolverine, of course.
Yeah, Wolverine, Iron Man. I think maybe even Captain America. But, like, the big names were, like, prominent, and they were there early and stuff. It's still freaking awesome. I mean, just how much detail is in all of those screens for these small panels. It's pretty awesome. And Sam is just, like, kind of going crazy. And this is, like, really makes sense of his helmet, like, going haywire, because Sam thinks he's going to lose his mind. And he really, like, he's trying to figure out, like, and he even says, what do you even focus on? Like, all these things, like, how can you pay attention, like, how can you pay attention to all these things at once? And he sees that there is an image that is replayed over and over and over again in every possible dimension, and he finds what Uatu's been looking for all this time is the one instance that his father succeeds when they give nuclear energy to a planet and it doesn't create nuclear war.
It just seems like if he, like, hung out there a little bit longer, like, maybe focused mainly on that instead of just, like, I'm gonna travel around. Like, it's not a hard solution to, like, fix what he did. There shouldn't be, like, infinite amount of universes, and you can only find, like, one where it didn't get fucked up. And it's like, he could have just sat there a little bit longer.
Well, something, ironically, with Beast happened that's similar before during the Endangered Species arc, that Beast was racking his brain on, like, how do you bring back mutants? And he went to the Watcher, and then the Watcher himself showed Beast, you don't. Here's every universe. Here's you struggling in every conceivable way. Here's Wizard you. Here's Priest you. Here's you as an evil person. You as a good person. Like, here's you every time you try this, and every time it fails, and every method you try.
That would be kind of cool, though. Somebody show you, like, every different universe version of yourself.
And they fail every time.
No, just, like, every single time. Like, somebody showed us this exact moment right now, and all of it is just us wearing different types of clothes at this table.
We all
Like,
have mullets.
Yeah, we have, like, wizard robes and staffs while we're still doing this.
It does make me think back, too, though, of, like, when, in Hawks and Pox, when Moira McTaggart chose Magneto, that, like, he sucks every time. His plans for mutant domination fail every time, and he freaks out. He's like, why would you show me this? Why would you show me I suck so hard that every time? Good times, those ones. Anyway.
No, the problem is he never really has strong enough allies.
He's got the Toad.
Magneto. Yeah, he's got fucking Toad.
Well, no, that whole timeline, though, like, he just decided on his own, fuck this, I'm gonna take over the world, and then the X-Men and everyone just, like, descends on him. That
everyone,
awesome splash page of him falling. And then Moira McTaggart just stuck on that railing thing that's floating next to him.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking that's the thing. Probably why you failed every time. Working with Toad.
Yeah.
I mean, every villain has like shitty people they work with, because like Magneto's not gonna work with Doctor Doom.
Yeah, remember he got hung off the balcony like Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, he had to sign over the rights to his song.
What's the Sinister Six thing, right? It's like if the villains could just work together, they'd beat the shit out of the heroes, but like they can't.
As soon as they do in like the old man,
terrible.
As soon as they do in the Old Man Logan universe, they kill everybody.
Yeah, they win.
Yeah.
So,
and also they all got to be the top guy, and you can't be the top guy if you're all on the same level.
Yeah, they're not suddenly going to be democratic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say something. You look like you were.
No, you guys looked at me, so I gave you what you wanted.
I glanced over and you looked like you wanted to say something. Never mind. So anyway, Sam realizes this and is sort of like empathetically connects that like they both have dad issues and they're both sad, and he's like, all right, well, I get that. And then what you said earlier, instead of asking him what he watches for, that was answered. He asked if his dad's alive, and the Watcher's like, he is. And then Sam's all super happy and jets off, and the Watcher's like, hey, I finally got a thing to put on the shelf.
Yeah.
So there. Didn't even say thank you. Nobody just dipped out.
And I just want to let everybody know that this book came out in 2014. We're recording this in 2020, and his dad's still nowhere to be found. Like, they showed him, like, be a prisoner somewhere, and then he got free, and him and other prisoners have, like, their own ship, and then they haven't been seen in 5 years.
Was that before or after Secret War?
That was, like, right after.
Oh, okay.
It was, like, the first series after Secret Wars came out.
I was going to say, it'd be kind of funny if they were just like, no, Secret War happened, he's dead now. Uatu lied. It's like, you don't think I already got rocks? I live on the moon. It's nothing but rocks.
What, you think I sold them all?
Talking about rocks like I ain't got none. He's like, oh, but I could use this case. That's nice. Anyway, Original Sin issue 1 starts with Uatu just deciding, I'm gonna die today. I don't give a shit. I'll take your bullets and still die. Like, it's just a big
King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
Yeah, it's like a splash page of like, hey, if you didn't read our issue 0, here's the Watcher. He watches everything.
Because apparently he can see the future, and I didn't know that.
I don't think he can see really see the future. Like, he can kind of see the future, but he can see that there's like a moment where he can't see past it.
I think it's like mild,
It's not like he can tell the future, but he sees it all kind of like it is.
Like a vague premonition, maybe?
Like, he sees it and doesn't know if it's the future or, like, it just
It's
there.
all possible futures, but he knows that, like, all the possible futures come to this moment where he cannot see past.
Because he sees everything, multiple realities. So he doesn't, like, is this reality?
Well, that's just
that
sounding
reality?
like Dr. Manhattan.
Maybe. Oh.
Yeah. No, I thought it was more like he just gets a sense of what's going to happen, so he knows where to go, so then he can go watch it. Because, I mean, if he already knows it's going to happen, what's the point of going and witnessing it?
Well, he doesn't even need to go there. He sees it from his place. He just likes to be there, like a front row seat when it's important.
Yeah, when it's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he, in a sense, took a front row seat to his own death.
Yeah, he's like, well, I can't run. I got to see this.
Yeah. He literally bears witness to his own murder. He's like, all right, I know what's going to happen, so I'm going to walk down these steps.
He's like popped a bowl of popcorn. He's like, this is primetime television.
And he literally says, I see you, and then, bam, shot in the head.
One of these images, though, he looks like just an angry baby. Because he's
He
got
always
the bald
looks like
head.
an angry baby.
Yeah. Well, because they say for like a brief moment he's scared and stuff, but he's composed the entire time. Because he knows he's walking to his death. Because he's Watu. He's
I don't know where you're
Jesus of the moon, apparently. I don't know. He's weird, the parallels.
So Nick Fury and all them are having dinner.
Yeah, steak. Meat night, apparently.
Oh.
Because Wolverine loves him some meat.
It's
Yeah,
like they always like whenever they show Natasha, she's like maybe vaguely Russian, but in this scene, they're like, oh, she's super Russian.
So Russian? So Russian she wants to eat a bear.
Yeah,
like
you haven't
right
had
now.
bear?
Like
You
she's in
don't
the,
eat the bear?
she's in the middle of out eating Steve Rogers and steak, and it's like, you know, it'd be great right now.
Wait, what?
Bear.
She's out eating Steve Rogers?
in steak, like they're both eating steak.
Oh, she's out eating.
But she's out eating him because
Okay.
he's being a bitch about like, oh, I can't possibly
I heard
finish
that.
this steak.
I heard that as she's out eating.
Eating him.
Yeah,
No.
not out eating. All right.
No, she's
Like,
like
flop
eating
those
more
around.
than.
She's eating out Steve Rogers.
Were it a contest, she'd be winning in terms of the amount of food she's shoving down her gullet. But even then, she's complaining that it's not as great as bear, and they should be eating bear, like right now. So,
But like
you know.
specifically Russian
It
bear.
has to be Russian bear.
So you know, so
American bear don't taste good. Russian bear, best bear.
apparently.
Apparently.
And yeah, there's a lot of Wolverine going, are you going to eat that meat or not eat that meat? Because you're eating that meat or you're
I'm gonna
not
kill you
cool.
and eat that meat myself.
Yeah.
Basically.
And then he's literally like, well, he's not going to eat this, so he just takes it off his plate.
Like the Captain America in this whole thing, like you can just imagine him having like a really high pitched voice.
I also imagine that Wolverine's like got one claw out at a time and is cutting Captain America's steak for him.
Because like Nick Fury is all assertive about what the best steak is. Natasha's like, "Tell us, Rogers, what was the best steak you ever had?" The best steak? I don't know, guys. Maybe.
Well, I think that's Wolverine, because Nick Fury comes in with the story.
No, that was Steve Rogers who said, "I don't know what the best."
No,
steak
I
was."
mean, you were saying Nick Fury's going on.
I love your
about it,
Steve
and then
Rogers
that
voice.
happened.
Never
But
heard
it's
your
in
voice
reverse.
so high.
Because Nick Fury comes over and he's like, the best steak anyone's ever eaten was the one in the war where a cow just showed up and then we fought the Germans for it. And then we ate it because Bucky butchered it. And I love how it's to sort of keep continuity or like to, because they were like, how does a kid who grew up in the inner city of New York know how to butcher a cow? He's like, maybe one of those other boys taught him. Well, who knows?
Yeah, they're like, he knew instinctively. But you could have just said somebody else did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Well-
because he responds immediately, "Christmas, 1944, Bastogne." Like, he
Yeah.
just knew. Like he thinks about that all the time.
And so yeah, Bucky, he butchered the cow, and then some random dude made a grill out of a Jeep, and then they cooked the cow, and they ate the cow, and they're like, that was the
was a
best
good
cow.
cow.
And then Steve Rogers was like, yeah, what he said. I couldn't come up with anything, but since I was there, that was the best one. And then, yeah, Wolverine's like, all right, fine, I guess that beats my story. And Natasha's like, would have been better if it was bear, because Russian. They really let you know.
I feel like bear meat wouldn't be that good. And Wolverine even says, like, I've had bear meat. It sucks ass.
All of this talk about, like, meat, and just because bear starts with a B keeps making me think of that Team 4-Star thing, the Cell Versus. That one guy was like, are you man meat or bug meat? He blows him up. You don't remember that?
I don't
Oh, it was
remember.
hilarious. It was great. It was like one of their best running gags for Abridged. Anyway, enough about more popular things. So while they're arguing over meat, Steve Rogers gets a call that some crazy stuff happened on the moon, and that they need to check it out. And he's like, Fury, you got to come with me. And Fury's like, I'm retired. He's like, there's no such thing. Once an Avenger, always an Avenger. And he's like, I wasn't an Avenger. He's like, shut up. We need you. And that one eye. And he's like, fine. Then I'm driving. And then they take Lucille, right? The flying car. That's
Yes.
also a spaceship, apparently.
$1 billion car, apparently.
Yeah. And they fly off to the moon. The blue area of the moon.
Yeah.
Always. Which you
Back
think
to the blue
Watcher
area.
doesn't need to breathe, right? He goes everywhere.
Maybe
For a
just likes
second, I
it.
thought you said doesn't need to breed.
Oh, probably that either. They're all dudes, aren't they?
As far as
Well-
I've seen, there might be some. I'm just picturing
There's
somebody
bald
who
chicks.
looks exactly like Uatu, but with lipstick. Like, you know how Wobba Fett's variation has lipstick?
I'm pretty sure it was the courts that decided he doesn't need to breed. So anyway, they get there, and I love that they're like, because Thor is super upset, and he's like, how could someone do such a thing? And they don't show you what happened right away, but they're clearly all talking about the Watcher being dead, and Iron Man's talking about, look, we don't know what happened, guys, not really. And they're like, dude, he was definitely murdered, look at him, and then you see the picture of him with a big old hole in his forehead, and his eyeball's missing. And it's like, yeah, obviously that guy got murdered.
Maybe he tripped.
Like,
I know what happened, guys. He tripped, he fell, rock hit him in the center of the head, pushed through, both of his eyes popped out because of how hard he fell. And then 2 space birds came, picked him up, and flew off.
Yeah, he said, for all we know, this could have easily been some sort of accident.
Tony Stark, sometimes the dumbest guy in the Marvel Universe.
Oh, that's your boy.
I know.
It was just to build it up. They've done that a couple times in this book.
Yeah, there are some dumb things where it's like, that was all just hype for the big reveal like 2 pages later.
Yeah, they really try to stretch it out and keep you guessing.
Yeah.
Which is just annoying because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And then T'Challa gets a call from somebody, and they're like, you need to figure out who killed the Watcher, and here are the clues you need to follow. And he's like, why don't you just give this to the Avengers, and if you have the answers, why are you coming to me? And he's like, no, this file doesn't have answers, it has questions. And I need you to go to where these are and then answer these questions.
This is Jeopardy, bitch.
Mixed with the Amazing Race.
Yeah. You get the answers, and then you got to give what the question was.
Well, no, he gets the questions. So I guess it's reverse Jeopardy. So it's just a quiz. Anyway, T'Challa's like, look, even if you wanted me to do this, which is weird because, you know, the Avengers are running point on it. And that's something Steve Rogers even made a point to say, that they need to be the ones that are like leading this. Yeah, we're going to get Sword, and yeah, we're going to get Shield, but the Avengers need to run point on this, and I want you, Nick Fury, to head the whole thing, because you're our super detective.
If
the eye patch,
anything I know about Cap, great judgment of character.
Right?
According to him.
Yeah.
So
Cap is the type of dude to write his own like referral.
So T'Challa's like, look, even if I'm the best person to go about doing this, I can't do it alone. There's just way too many places on this list. And he's like, yeah, that's why you're not going to be alone. You're going to have a team. Cue Suicide Squad.
I thought you were going to cue the CSI music.
No, I mean, that could have worked too. And
he
then
just puts on another eye patch.
It turns out that team is Ant-Man and Emma Frost, which X-Man.
Yeah.
There's our tie-in.
Our other main character.
Hey, we had Wolverine eating steak earlier.
But he's not giving credit to Wolverine being an X-Men.
Yeah, no, he doesn't count.
I mean, in fairness, he is pimped everywhere. And then they're all like, hey, don't give up our secret base here, because that's not cool. Well, Emma Frost is anyway. And Ant-Man's all like, I'm just a dude the size of an ant, so, you know, don't look at me like that. And some weird drill ship comes out of the ground, and it's T'Challa. He's like, all right, well, we're all going to go underground, but that's super not clear until issue 2. You don't know what's happening with those guys.
I think it was pretty clear the second he came out of a drill ship.
You'd think, but I feel like it's subtle enough in the art where, like, you really got to be paying attention to that.
Yeah, because I didn't notice it. Because you actually don't even see T'Challa come out of there. It's just a drill coming out of the ground.
Yeah.
And then Ant-Man's like, guess it's going to be a long ride down. It's like, what are you even talking about, bro? Nothing was explained.
Yeah. And then you get to see Doctor Strange go to the Punisher. It's like, hey, man, this guy you're torturing? Not cool. He already told you the truth. And the Punisher's all like, yeah, I know he told me the truth. This is because he's an asshole, and I'm a bigger asshole.
Yeah. It's kind of his thing.
And then Doctor Strange disappears the guy, and Punisher's like, you want me to shoot you in the knees? And he's like, look, I sent him to a place where beetles are the size of Dobermans, so he's not happy. Which maybe the guy's like really into bugs, so maybe he is.
I mean, no matter how much you're into bugs, if they're beetles, They're gonna be like pinching you.
Right, but if they're like as cool as the big bug room guys,
Like
high as shit.
Like that guy gets there, there's just beetles smoking. Like, yeah, what's up, gay?
like you don't know.
You want a cup of coffee?
And he also could have just said that. Like Doctor Strange, he's not the type of guy to like kill a person, right?
No, he wouldn't kill that guy, but he also is not the type of person who will lie about where he's sending them, and he will definitely send a guy a place for at least a couple days where he's just getting like tortured by a bunch of bugs.
Rude. All right, well. Anyway, and then you see Moon Knight and Bucky, and they're like, "What are we doing in space?" Finding our other partner, and that partner is Gamora.
Yep.
And so you see teams forming.
Yeah, she's just floating around in space, apparently.
Yeah, wearing a lot more clothes than usual.
Well, we just covered that Guardians of the Galaxy story, and she
was wearing a lot more clothes than usual.
No, that's the same clothes she was wearing.
Well, more armor. It's more armory. It was kind of skin tight in the Guardians. All right.
You thinking of
a spacesuit?
No, I'm not talking about that. That was almost non-existent. Yeah, she's a spacesuit. But isn't she cybernetic? Doesn't she not need a spacesuit?
Just because you're cybernetic doesn't mean you don't need to breathe.
Yeah, but if she's got cybernetic lungs, maybe not.
What would the...
Or maybe she doesn't even have lungs.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you had cybernetic lungs, like, what are they? They would still be for oxygen.
Breathe, yeah.
Yeah, but they could have, like, backups of oxygen. Like, you could have, like, inner tanks or some shit.
And they're not lungs. They're air tanks.
Yeah, that then repurpose as lungs. Who knows? It's cybernetic. Are you an engineer in the cyber sciences?
You definitely don't know.
I said who knows. I clearly don't. So anyway, they're looking around because they decided, let's look for bullet fragments since he so clearly was shot in the head.
I think his eyes popped out.
and Cap finds a bunch of shards that are glowing green. And he's like, hey, Nick Fury, found some stuff. This dude was definitely shot in the head because these look like bullet fragments. And Nick Fury is like, all right, yeah, I guess they are. I guess I'll do some detective stuff. And then it goes on to be the worst detective in history.
Yeah.
In the rest of these books. Because, anyway. Because I realized, because I'm at the first mindless one thing, and then what I was going to tie in is actually the second mindless one thing, and that's in the second issue. The first mindless one thing, so apparently...
The mindless one, you're saying.
The mindful ones.
Is what you find out, yes. It's a mindless one that was given a mind. And it's like, fuck this. They basically all turn into Mr. Meeseeks.
Yeah.
Where they existence is pain. And they just want to die or be turned dumb again. And this one is beating the shit out of Spider-Man and the Thing. And also just waving the ultimate nullifier all around. Which, if you read Zero, you know what that is.
Yeah.
Or if you read Fantastic Four.
Any of Fantastic Four, ever.
Okay, but like, who is, though?
First, they launched the entire universe.
Okay, yeah, but like, do you go out of your way to read Fantastic Four?
I do read Fantastic Four. I'm not a huge fan of Fantastic Four, but I've read the last 20 issues of Fantastic Four.
I don't read it, but that's like a big thing, the ultimate nullifier.
The only time I read Fantastic Four was when they got rid of the two boring ones and put in T'Challa and Storm.
Who were the boring ones?
Reed and Sue.
Yeah.
No, Sue's the coolest one.
What?
The best fucking powers.
What?
A fire dude and a rock dude, really?
What dynamic does
Pokemon
Sue
types.
have that's interesting to read? At least you get banter between Grimm and Johnny.
Yeah, with some whack-ass powers, though.
What? The Human Torch has a great power.
Fire, flying.
Yes! He's Moltres! He's Charizard!
He's 4 times weak to rock.
That's a pass for me.
Which is ironic.
Yeah.
Because fucking the Thing.
I will say, the one positive thing I will say about Susan Storm is that she can create a layer of force field underneath your skin and then expand it, so like you explode.
Or maybe that's how they fix the Blob.
She never does it, but...
That's one of those, I don't read her to know. The same thing with Mr. Fantastic. His
Oh,
powers
you
can be
just
useful.
proved my point, though, that you don't read her?
No, I don't read the Fantastic Four, but her powers
That was my whole point.
are the coolest.
No one
She's
reads the
got
Fantastic
coolest
Four.
power set, though.
Yeah, and
She can do
I
so
read
much.
almost everything.
Yeah, so you barely even count.
Hey!
Alright, so anyway. They realize Ultimate Nullifier, bad. And the mindless one has a mind and doesn't like it, also bad. And then the mindless one decides, you know what is a great plan of action? Use this ultimate nullifier on myself and just kill myself. It's what he does. He ultimately nullifies his own face.
Yeah. Which that thing is strong enough to kill Galactus, and it blows up, I think they said, 5 city blocks?
No, it doesn't. He
nothing?
Himself destroyed 5 city blocks,
Oh.
and then he nullified his face.
So yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He shot himself point blank right next to Thing and Spider-Man, everybody, but it zooms out and you see a humongous explosion.
Exactly, but there's no real, repercussions of it.
See, that makes zero sense. A weapon that strong.
Like, Spider-Man's suit didn't even get battle damaged, and it'll get fucked up by just,
a
pumpkin grenade.
Not a single rip.
So, it seemed a bit weak for the ultimate nullifier. And also, the ultimate nullifier just sounds like a thing that just, neutralizes something.
Like you're about to come and you just press the ultimate nullifier.
And then it just stops.
Good.
Yeah. And then cut to some supervillains doing supervillain shit, kind of monologuing in their secret lair. You don't get to know who they are because it's mysterious.
And I want to add in, there's quotes around the supervillain part.
Yep.
Because there's Z-list.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, the most powerful one is Gold Guy, which will be revealed later who he actually is.
But you get the mindless ones freaking out because they have a mind, and a lot of generalized it's changing us, it's making us different, and you see what they're talking about is actually Uatu's eye, and a guy in a hood is holding the eye, and that's pretty metal. It's I mean, he's holding a giant eye the size of an average person's head.
Yeah, which makes sense because he himself has a head
larger than the average person. The end of that issue. Original Sin, issue 2, picks up with Black Panther's small team, which I mean we're gonna find out. They're all right, Ant-Man. That they're all on the same team, but they're all broken apart, and the only ones who seem to know they're on the same team is Doctor Strange and Black Panther, and maybe Moon Knight and Bucky. Maybe, but that's not even that clear.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Bucky, I think, but Moon Knight's kind of up in the air,
right?
Whether or not he really knew.
So probably at least one person from that team, Doctor Strange and T'Challa, all know that they're working together. But then the people within their own little teams have no idea. They're just sort of along for the ride. And so Black Panther, Emma Frost, and Ant-Man now obviously are underground. And they're talking to the Moloids, right? Is that how?
Is that what they are?
I guess, the Mole Man's dudes, which I thought his dudes were the mindless ones.
He's got both.
Oh, okay.
He's got immunities of the Moloids.
So, anyway, they're all scared, and they're like, it's not cool down here, man. There's nothing but bodies down here. And they see that there is nothing but bodies down there. Just lots of monster bodies dead under the Earth's surface.
Monster body sounds like a can of Axe you'd get.
It's it's like a competing company that, Monster Energy Drink decides, they partnered with Bod.
It's just, it smells like date rape and is sticky.
It is sticky. Anyway, it have names that they think is cool, but actually sounds really terrible, like Gruesome Pecs. It's that
Thunderstorm
sounds
Cherry.
Why does it have a taste?
I don't know.
It's supposed to just have a smell. Anyway, so they're underground. They find all these monsters, and then cut to the Avengers are in some building, and they're chasing a mindless one who now also has a mind. So I guess a mindful one. And Steve Rogers says something clever like, "Who's guarding the back door?" And then
Wolverine, I am.
And then Nick Fury in his flying car is like, "What back door? You're on the 47th floor, guy." And then you see what he meant, because the mindful one jumps out of the window, and oddly enough, right into Nick Fury's backseat.
Yep.
Cap's like, you got an eye on him? Which is crazy, only one eye. And he's like, yeah, I got a pretty good view.
He could have said it that way, but he was offensive about it because he said, who has eyes on him? And he's like, just the one, dick.
Well, I feel like Fury always has to say that for some reason. Like, anytime somebody says eyes, he has to point out, I only have one.
I think he wears that for, like, just fashion purposes. I think he has both of his eyes.
Probably. He switches it every once in a while, and nobody notices.
Well, and most of the time, literally, it doesn't need the eye patch, because most of the time you're dealing with Nick Fury, it's an LMD. Yeah. That robot, it's just, I mean, you gotta put an eye under the patch.
Yeah, like you could have just gave it better vision. But also, maybe it's like one of those Halloween masks, you know, that's like all black, but you see straight through because it's super sheer fabric. So he's just looking through it the whole time.
He's looking through the iPad.
He's like, and whenever someone's like, close your eyes, really, he's just shutting one.
Oh, that's what it's for pinata hitting.
and guessing someone's like fingers they're holding up and stuff.
I'm rewatching.
So he looks like he's got the worst telepathy in the world.
I'm rewatching Daredevil right now. That just reminded me of that scene where Foggy finds them all beaten. He's like, "Can you see?" And he's like, "How many fingers am I holding up?" And he gives him the middle finger, and he's like, "One."
That's funny. So yeah. Anyway, mindful one at this point ends up in Nick Fury's backseat, and you see why no one should be in Nick Fury's backseat. He's got straps that have minds of their own. And he literally says this is the most action that backseat's seen in a while. And I feel like he's used those things. Like he's
that tentacle hentai.
He got those just for that. And he's like, I could pretend that I had these for helping with supervillains, but that's not why they're there.
And why Nick Fury is clearly the greatest detective ever and worthy of Steve Rogers' trust Batman. And praise is this thing that had no brain. He's like, why did you kill the Watcher? I know you did it, you piece of shit. Why did you? A thing without a brain who just recently got one, who's freaking out about it. Why did you kill the Watcher? And it's fighting, and it doesn't care what he's saying because it just wants to die. And it turns out the front seat is not just a evacuation sheet, but a jetpack. And Nick Fury clearly blows his legs off and grows them right back.
He's Bigelow.
And then shoots his own car, blowing up the mindless one. With the last things he did was like accuse it of killing the Watcher. Like, stellar detective work, guy. Like, because clearly that's the guy who did it.
The one who couldn't think 10 minutes ago.
It's like if Batman got one of the Joker's henchmen and started blaming all the shit the Joker and Two-Face and, like, what other, like, the Penguin, you know? Like, was all on this one henchman who was, like, in one place one time.
Well, Nick Fury doesn't even want to be here. He's like, I'm going to wrap this up real quick. Here's the culprit. He's in jail. Done.
Yeah.
And he's going on vacation.
Yeah, because he's like, this is the guy who killed the guy.
Like you meet the description, you're on the street, that's it. Handcuff you, you're going to jail.
You're saying crazy stuff, you ran out of a building on the 47th floor, clearly you're not in your right mind. I mean, you just
mind.
got a mind.
So you did it.
You just got a mind and you're out of it.
Alright, so anyway, some stuff with Tony Stark. Because he's, just in his helmet and robe, and he's hanging out with Bruce Banner, who's like, put some pants on. He's like, in these trying times, you want me to pants? Be professional.
Yeah. Why do I feel like
Don't
that's how he
pants.
makes sex tapes with like all the women that he brings back? It's just he puts on the Iron Man mask for the camera.
It's just recording the whole time. And they're just like, oh, this is kinky. I've always wanted to bang Iron Man. I mean, Tony Stark, I see him all the time in tabloids.
He's like, you thought I was Iron Man. Turns out, it's my penis. That his dick has a little helmet on it.
So...
when he jizzes, it makes that charging sound.
Oh. Like his balls do the...
Yeah.
When he's got all that money, you know he made a helmet for his dick.
Yeah.
Alright, so... But Tony Stark brings up that like they're going over the surveillance footage, and that they're tracking because the shells gave off like a gamma radiation. That's why they looped in Bruce Banner, and so they're trying to track that radiation, which is weird, right? Because that's supposed to be all over the place. I mean, with all the shit the Hulk has to deal with and the people he's fighting, it's kind of hard to just trace a specific radiation, right?
Yeah, but they always have at least a precedence of Banner being able to track
Specific gamma radiation?
Yeah, like he can track our gamma radiation to its source. It's not nearly the first time they've done this with him.
It just seems weird because you'd think a gamma radiation deposit or whatever is just that. Like, what distinguishing features would you think would be between different
Sources of gamma.
sources of gamma? Yeah.
One's more gamma-y.
I'm just saying, what's to stop them from just accidentally running into one of his villains rather than the guy they're looking for responsible for killing the Watcher?
Writing.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe he just tells them he can do that, though, but he's more like the energy vampire from What We Do in the Shadows. He's just absorbing the gamma radiation.
Just getting stronger.
Yeah.
Almost suck to be him. Anytime there's any gamma anywhere, they're like, call Bruce Banner. It's like, damn it, I was eating dinner.
Well, he is the foremost
gamma
expert
props.
on it, and that's why he's...
He's also the biggest problem with it.
Yeah.
It's like, is there not any other experts? He's the only expert, apparently, when it comes to gamma.
And the irony is he's working with a guy he's going to be super mad at soon.
They're all working with people they're going to be super mad at soon.
And so Tony Stark also notices, because there's surveillance footage on the blue area of the moon for some reason, he's like, hey, so a gold ship just showed up on there. Maybe they have something to do
They had
with
all the Watcher's cameras. He had all those TVs.
and they
They just redirected away from the schools.
I love that, like, his tech is so high-tech that it dwarfs anything humans can make, and then they're just like, oh yeah, we know how to work it. We got right in there.
Well, yeah, it's like the ship in Independence Day. You just got to be able to plug a standard computer USB into it, and you can take over the whole ship.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're having Will Smith fly one.
Yeah. And you welcome them to Earth.
Yeah. So, anyway. After the whole, like, you should wear pants pun. Well, not pun, but
Pun.
joke. Well, because he's all like, be professional. Talking about pants. This is serious. Whereas he's clearly in a robe and not being serious. So it's ironic.
I get the
Doctor Strange and Punisher, they're in another dimension entirely.
Yep. It says somewhere far beyond the realms of man.
Yep. And I thought, okay, does that distinguish it from a different dimension? And then the next book, it's like in a different dimension. It's like, oh, nope, it's the same thing. Another realm and a different dimension. Just
It looks like they're in the microverse. I might be wrong, but it looks like the microverse.
either way, Strange's got some birds that know when murder happened.
Murder birds.
Murder birds. And he's like, we're looking for a murder victim, right? So, like, these birds, they're like, there's a murdered body over there. So let's go, mass murder guy.
So I'm pretty sure.
Murder expert.
Pretty sure they're crows.
Because they're called murder.
Yeah, a group of crows is a murder. So
Yeah.
they're murder birds.
But then, like, also vultures, right? Like, they know when thing's about to die.
He just
and when
released
it's
some
died.
damn buzzards.
Yeah.
He tried to make it sound all fancy. He stole them from the zoo.
So, they go over and it's this fucking giant. He's like, this is an 80-foot tall monster. And Punisher's like, 85.
You don't see, he just like put his tape measure back on his hip.
Well, he's got to have something in those utility belt pouches.
I like the idea of somebody though having a tape measure permanently on their like utility belt just because they're so insecure. They gotta keep checking.
So, they're checking out this thing. And they're like, man, this is a really big thing to have been killed. And then they don't know right away, right?
No,
They
what?
do. Okay, no. I was getting confused with the next issue. So there's this whole, like, Doctor Strange talking about, like, it couldn't have been a bullet because Punisher's like, it was shot to death. And
It was a missile.
There's no bullets this big. He obviously didn't read Astonishing.
yeah, right? But also he was there, right? Like, he got
He's unconscious.
Yeah, but, like, he knew it was happening.
I mean, who didn't? Gigantic planet-sized bullets about to
Right?
destroy the Earth.
So anyway, he's like, I'm going to figure out what spell was used to destroy this creature. And then Punisher's like, found it. Found the bullet. Now I know why I'm here. Because you're fucking stupid. You tell your birds where to take us, and then I'll do the work. And then goes back to those shady ass villains and the mindless ones freaking out, and they're like, "Well, we're changing and we're growing because of it." Clearly talking about the eye.
Yeah, it's like force evolving them.
Because it's giving them knowledge and stuff, and they're like, this is dope and scary, but awesome. And apparently it's doing something to, well, I guess we could just reveal it now, because at this point it just looks like Ben Grimm, but evil.
It really looks like Ben Grimm.
Right? But it's not. It's Dr. Midas. Because, gold spaceship.
Yeah, it's gold member.
Yeah. And the Avengers surround the tower they're in. And they're like, come out, because we know you're there. And also, X-Men cameos. Iceman is there. And Storm is there. And Kitty Pryde is there. And Magic. And Magic is first referenced that she's teleporting people as quickly as possible. Yeah. Which is weird that they're suddenly cool with Magic.
It's weird that they're all just kind of cool suddenly with the X-Men.
Well, it's kind of like when you need something, that's when you call them.
Yeah, well, they needed that bus, because Strange was nowhere to be found.
They need a magic bus.
Yeah.
Also, all the mindless ones have Cyclops powers, which, they always do, but kind of a X-Men reference.
Right? And he's not in the book at
That's
all.
the tie-in right there.
Except for one panel in Zero.
Yeah.
And not even, like, in a panel of a panel. Because he's in one screen of that.
But see, that's how cool Torch is. He's not even there. It's Firestar.
No, Firestar's in there? I totally missed him.
That's a girl. Angelica
Her.
Jones.
Oh, I was thinking of
Sunfire?
Sunfire. You said Firestar, and I immediately thought of the Japanese dude. Well, yeah, she is an X-Men now.
Yeah, she was just an amazing.
Yep. We read that. We talked about it. So anyway, they're surrounded, and Exterminatrix, who's the daughter of Midas that you find out, is just like, you know what? I'm gonna kill all of them. I haven't slept in 3 days, and I feel fucking great.
And I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Been drinking green tea all goddamn day. And she jumps.
Damn! I go to church every goddamn Sunday.
Jumps out the window, starts shooting up everybody. And from these panels, you would think she was winning, actually. Like, they're beating the shit out of the Avengers. And then the mysterious guy with the eyeball and the hood is walking Midas out. And you think they're going to get away. But as soon as they get out of the building, it's all the Avengers and X-Men. They're like, yeah, we beat those people. Because obviously.
Yeah.
So,
they didn't
surrender.
have a brain.
Yeah.
Much of one.
And then the guy takes off his hood to reveal he's a giant eyeball.
It's the orb for anybody who recognizes it.
Oh, it's not Eye-Boy?
No, his head is just an eyeball.
It's Eye-Man.
Yeah.
Eye-Man! But yeah, he's saying that the eyeball is basically a bomb and it's about to drop some truth on their asses.
Drop a knowledge bomb on all these guys.
It's just a truth bomb.
So I need to look up Dr. Midas because he does look exactly like Thing.
But then he doesn't. He's like an Iron Man ripoff we see in the next issue.
Yeah, he looks different in the next one, yeah.
Yeah.
But like he even has the same eyebrow ridge as Thing. Like when I saw him, I actually scrolled back to make sure it wasn't Thing. Like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Nothing
happened. No thing happened. So
weeks ago.
issue 3, weeks ago, exactly. We see the orb sort of pitch his plan to Midas, where he's like, look, don't ask me how I know, but I know that there's some eyeballs calling to me on the moon, and there's a bunch of stuff you're going to want to steal. You know that big guy with the head?
That changes sizes?
Who shows up places and doesn't say anything? Well, for some reason, it's going to be totally cool to go to his house and steal his shit. I don't know how I know this, but if you trust me, we can go there and steal all his shit. I hear he has the ultimate nullifier.
The way you're pitching this is like in Friday when she's trying to convince Craig to smoke weed.
So
I know you don't want to go to the moon. I know this, but we gonna fly today.
So right away, what was her name? The exterminatrix is like, can I just kill this dude? And Dr. Midas is like, nah, I know about this Watcher guy because he looked at me once because he only cares about the people who make the world change.
Well, he checked him out when he was much younger, though. That's
Yeah.
when he looked at him.
He's like, did his penis just become gold?
He
this
showed
is
up in person for that event.
So anyway, he's like, all right, I'm in. We'll do this thing. And that explains how the mindless ones have minds now, and they have the eyeball, and they have all this stuff, because somehow he knew the Watcher was going to be dead, and they go there, and they could just take the stuff. And back to the present, an eyeball guy, Orb, is like, here's this eyeball truth bomb. And it blows up, and everyone's just like, what? She was my sister the whole time.
She is my sister.
So they're all Luke Skywalker.
I wrote out the list of at least what happens with most people in their spinoffs. I didn't put the X-Men on here because obviously we're going to cover that next week. But yes, Banner finds out that Stark was responsible for him becoming Hulk because he was drunk and lowered the shields. And then later,
that's a funny accident.
Yeah, later finds out it actually saves his life because the shields would have killed him instead of turning him into the Hulk.
Again, funny accident.
Yeah. Spider-Man sees that somebody else was bitten by the radioactive spider, and that turns out to be Silk. Thor sees that Angela is a sister and learns about the 10th realm, which is heaven. Captain America finds out the Illuminati wiped his mind. Human Torch ruined the Thing's chance of being turned back to normal. Daredevil found out that his mom left because his dad was abusive, but then he later found out that what he saw wasn't his dad beating his mom. His mom had post-traumatic stress disorder and tried to kill him, and his dad stopped her, and then she went away to the Covenant to cure herself of wanting to murder babies.
Right, as you do.
Yeah. Deadpool found out his daughter was still alive. Nova found out that supernovas have killed other novas. Gamora finds out that Quill and Richard Rider made a deal with Thanos in the Cancerverse, and Lockjaw found the location of a large bone he buried.
All right.
So that is what everybody saw when the truth bomb exploded.
You know what's funny is that Captain America should have been like, and I fought for that guy. And he wiped my mind, that piece of shit. And I don't think that happens at all. There's no re-examining of like, was I on the wrong side of AVX? Did I care too much about Xavier? Because he got his mind wiped by the Illuminati, right?
Yeah,
and
but I think
Xavier is on the Illuminati.
This is more of a setup for Secret Wars than I think it is a reaction to AVX.
Wasn't it Strange who wiped his mind, though?
I don't remember.
That's just a waste of resources. You got a telepath. Unless it happened after the fact. I understand if he's dead already. Then you can't have Xavier be the mind wiper.
Well, because don't they wipe Captain America's mind because they know about all the universes that have to be destroyed, and Cap's like, fuck that.
He was
So
being
they're
too
like,
much.
they wipe his mind and send him on his way.
Because he learns about all the children in Xavier's basement.
He was too much of a goody two-shoes, which I don't know why they invited him on the team anyway.
Yeah, he doesn't have like a specialty that would serve their purposes.
Well, I mean, that other Secret War, right? Like, or is it Secret Wars? The one where Fury wipes all their minds?
I think they're all Secret Wars.
Okay, well, yeah. The one where Fury has Wolverine and Spider-Man and Cap.
Number 3 with
and he wipes all their minds.
First appearance of Quake.
Yeah. And she totally is Angelina Jolie. They totally draw her as Angelina Jolie. It's just a thing that happens. It's like how Ultimate Nick Fury is Sam Jackson. Like,
yeah, maybe they wanted her to play her at some point.
Yeah, it's just literally just drew that chick.
But yeah, Nick Fury comes out with a gun and is like, "Hey,
all right, we're back in the story, huh?
Shoot you."
Yeah,
right in your eyeball.
Which is
drop the eye. It's like, I can't. It's my head, not that one.
Trying to be a smart ass.
Yeah, and he comes out and he arrests the Orb. He's like, why'd you kill the Watcher? Because again, and at least this one's a little more incriminating. He's holding the dude's eye, but also the Orb.
He probably said this to a lot of other people, though. A lot of other people. Why'd you kill him?
And so, meanwhile, Black Panther's team, they're just gathering a bunch of gamma bullets. They're like, it's crazy. Each one of these monsters under the earth was killed by a gamma bullet. So you're seeing, like, a trend now.
Yeah.
You've seen,
Well, and, like, some of the monsters, T'Challa's like, I don't even know what some of these are. And if I don't know what they are, then holy shit, you guys.
yeah.
There's things I don't know.
Right? And they're even talking about, like, how, like, some of the bodies are fresher than others. Some are, like, 10 years old, and others are, like, 2 years
They
old.
just never decompose.
Yeah.
I like to think that Black Panther was like, if I don't know what these are, then they don't exist.
They just disappear.
Case closed.
Shit over.
Those are some spooky bullets.
It's like the cops from South Park. Another case solved.
You know what? I don't even think they're bullets. They're gems. We found some cool glowing gems, guys. Mission accomplished. But yeah, so you've seen the shards that Captain America had dug out of the Watcher's skull. You've seen the Punisher pull one out of that thing's chest. That the 85-foot tall monster in that dimension. That might be the microverse.
Kryptonite bullet, that's what it was.
Basically, they're all kryptonite bullets. But, you know, gamma, because Marvel.
Yeah, green shiny bullets.
Yeah. And now they just got a whole bag of them.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, and then like Bucky and Moon Knight and Gamora, they're just like something's hitting their ship, and they're like, "What's that?" Like it's just a bunch of shells for gamma bullets.
Right.
It was a really good, I like that transition though, because they were trying to say like, who can kill this thing? Like, who's got a good enough shot? And Punisher said there's only 10 people on the earth that have that good of a shot, and that includes me. And then Doctor Strange's like, tell me every single name on that list.
My favorite part about that is that like in his head, like he's kind of bragging. 'Cause
Yeah.
he didn't need to mention that. He could have just said there's only 10 people in the world that can make that.
He could have just said there's only 9.
Yeah, but he's like, I'm one of them, just so you know.
Yeah.
I
In
can
case you were
totally do
wondering.
that shot.
But it wasn't me.
But he could have just been like, there's only 9 relevant. Because, like, obviously I didn't do it. I'm on the team to find the guy.
I could have done this, but I didn't.
And also, I'm not going to tell you where on the list I stand.
And also,
I'm third.
if I did it,
I'm the third best shot.
also, if I did it, we all know I would claim that I did it.
Yeah.
Like I admit
He
to
did
every
say
murder.
that. I don't hide who I kill.
And he's like, yeah, obviously.
But it transitions because he says there's only 10 people, and then it skips and you see Bucky right there.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And Moon Knight and Gamora, who are all fantastic shots.
Yeah. Although, did they say on Earth? Or is just people in general?
Oh, he says on Earth.
Yeah, because I don't think Gamora counts
Not
then.
as Earth, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Moon Knight's not really known for his shooting.
Doesn't have great shot. Oh, it just...
Well, he's got, like...
Not that great of a shot. I mean, I'm sure he
got,
can
like-
handle a gun well because he's a mercenary, but he's more of a hand-to-hand combat.
Doesn't he have, like, moonarangs?
Yeah. he's literally, if Batman was just batshit insane, it had
It was, like,
multiple
into the
personalities.
moon instead of bats.
Gotta have something, right?
Yeah. So, like you were saying, Bucky's team, they're just drifting in space, and Gamora's like, what are we even doing out here? We're not finding anything. There's nothing out here. And they're like, oh, are we getting hit by meteors? And nope.
They're playing paper football.
Big old shell casings.
That's actually the storyline in Endgame.
And then they're like, well, clearly these belong to a bunch of bullets. Let's follow this trail.
Gotta find the bullet that these belong to.
It's like a living bullet guy, though, and that's his blanket. They're like, "Hey,
Bully
we
Bill."
found it." It literally belongs to him.
Also, what's the right direction to go? It was like an asteroid field of bullets. Like, you think they went the wrong way for like half a light year? And they're like, wait a minute. We're running out and there's nothing over here. Shit, we gotta turn around. With the wrong direction.
It's the other way.
So yeah, they follow the shell casings. And then there's a mystery man who originally was talking to T'Challa, and he's holding one of those bullets, and he's like, you know what, we're going to need more of these. And another mystery dude that you see with a utility belt is like, yep, right on it. More of those. So someone's not on the up and up. And then Wolverine and the Hulk interrogate the orb, which seems like
Yeah.
overkill.
Yeah, stab cop, smash cop.
which is crazy because the Orb, he's kind of being one of those, like, interrogated people who's a little bit of a badass, who's like, I ain't talking to you. Give me the guy higher up. This ain't for us. This ain't for you. I need the guy in charge of you. That's who I talk to. Like, he's given Wolverine the business and the Hulk the business while he's, tied up and shit. And, Wolverine did the whole snick thing. And he's like, you got to the count of 3 before we go all stab cop and smash cop.
Smash Cop sounds like a 90s alternative band.
And then it ultimately works. They don't do anything to the guy. They ultimately like, oh, Nick Fury, you gotta come in and talk to this guy. But you know what? Not even that. Wolverine phrases it like he's ready to talk.
Yeah, he act like he made him talk.
He claims takes the credit kind of. And then at one point, like right before that happens too, Nick Fury's talking to Captain America. And Captain America's like, dude, if you want me to do an entire sweep of the planet, I need more people. And Nick Fury's like, where is everybody? Oh no, I think Cap asked where is everybody. He's like, truth bomb, man. They freaked out and ran away.
Yeah, like 3 of them literally ran away as soon as that happened.
Yeah.
Like Thor, Spider-Man, they were like, fuck this. They got out.
Which is weird because when you find out what it is, it's kind of not that big a deal.
I mean, for Thor, it kind of is, but for Spider-Man, it's like, okay, another person was bit by the spider.
Right.
Why are you in a hurry? It was fucking, for you, it was at least 15, 20 years ago.
I only do a Spider-Verse thing every other year as a minor crossover event. Like, I know plenty of people with spider powers.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been that big a shock.
Even Thor, though, he's gonna like literally stop in the middle of that and go find his sister.
Because he suddenly has a sister? Weird.
Well, he also finds out there's a whole extra realm out there. And
yeah, it just seems like a thing that can wait.
yeah, I mean, not as much as the Spider-Man thing, but I mean, it's not like definite, but
I mean,
like, you have to do it now.
He's gonna live for another 1,000 years. He's got time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know where it leads with Spider-Man and that whole another spider bit another person thing. He bangs her a lot.
That's why he needs to go. He's like, I need to go immediately.
They fuck all the time, like not even by choice. It's like, oh, we just gotta do it.
That's weird.
They do it on the ceiling.
It's gotta always be a choice or it's not cool.
It's not consent on both their parts.
It's a pheromone thing. It's like their genitals are just drawn to each other.
That's weird.
Like, when you put on the Patora earrings and you, like, fly at each other from, like, genital to genital?
Oh,
it's like that, but instead of fusing, you're banging.
I mean, it's a sort of fusing, I guess. And then unfusing, and then refusing, and then unfusing. Although, refusing sounds way worse.
Also, if you call
it
fusing, I feel like it's like how dogs have sex where they lock their genitals in place.
No. Okay, I'm done talking about that.
Sensitive Sally.
So yeah, everybody ran away due to the truth bomb, and then Wolverine's like, "Hey, the Orb's ready to talk." And then cut to Bucky's team.
Here's where the stupid shit starts happening.
Well, it's a little funny. Like, I mean, because they do say, "All right, wait a minute. So we flew in on the dark side of the planet, right?" To sort of give away that why it wasn't so obvious. Because they're walking around, they're like, it's just bullet holes in the ground, guys. Like, and Bucky's putting it together like, wait a minute. This guy's good. He's so good he never misses. So he must have wanted to hit the ground. Why would he want to hit the ground? Do we got a camera? Do we got a drone that we can send out of the atmosphere?
And around the world really fast to get high-tech pictures of the whole thing?
And you just
like, I got one.
And they throw it, and it goes up, and you just see an agonized face, dead. And it's like, oh, the planet was the victim. He literally killed the planet.
I didn't know you could just shoot a planet and it kills it, too. Even with a gamma bullet, like, what are you hitting?
Well, he shot a lot and they were really big.
But what are you hitting? I would assume there's like a layer of
the planet
rock
brains.
and ground, but then you have to get through to the center, to the organs.
Yeah, but he packed those bullets with so much gunpowder, or maybe it's like nuclear gamma powder. Who knows? Either way, I mean, they're pulling out intact bullets too. They just pulled out a whole ass bullet, not broken at all, and like definitely suspicious.
Yeah, they're not even using hollow points.
No.
And then Bucky's just like, no way. And then the other two are like, hey, Bucky,
Forgot something in the car.
Where'd you go, man? And then turns out what he did was put a detonator on the ship way earlier because he planned something like this might happen, or at least anticipated it. And then their ship blows up as he disappeared, and they're like, well, that's great.
I'm just going to abandon you on this dead guy.
Yeah. He really did just abandon them on a dead guy.
So that's the stupid shit, not the planet. Which we'll see why it's stupid, because it's the whole build-up.
Yeah, well, because where Nick Fury is, he's gonna go question the orb, and then a portal opens, and then bam, there's Bucky. And he's like, I fucking had it with you, guy. Remember that cow? And then he starts...
He makes Nick Fury steaks.
Oh. Yep, and then he pulls off Nick Fury's head and is like, I want the truth. And that's the end of that issue. He's tired of lies.
Wait, when he blows up that ship, they're kind of thinking like, oh, who could it be? So then Gamora and Moon Knight are thinking it's Bucky, obviously, because he blew up the ship, left him there. Bucky shows up, kills Nick Fury, steals his head.
Yeah, so clearly it's gotta be that guy.
Gotta be Bucky.
And everyone's like, never liked you.
Which is so funny.
Nick Fury's like, I never liked you. This guy was just Captain America.
Everybody, says that.
Yeah, but he was Captain America's friend. Everybody just pretends to like him because they respect Cap.
Nepotism.
Like you're the boss's son. Everyone pretends
Yeah.
like him.
Like he knows that they laugh at his jokes because they feel like they have to. Like
He's making murder jokes and shit.
Jared Kushner.
Every time they're just like, good one. Jesus Christ.
Alright, so issue 4. The Punisher and Doctor Strange are arguing over a vague reason. Like, it doesn't actually make any sense why they're arguing. Except that they both then agree that they don't trust anybody.
And then Punisher's like, I like you.
Yeah. It's like, maybe you're not as dumb as I thought you were. And then they portal out of there.
I want that list of 10 people.
Yeah. Well, he didn't even give it to him.
I know. Well,
They just pick up arguing.
He might have. Maybe you just mentioned the first one, and he was like, well, there's Bucky, and he's like, that's got to be it. And he's like, there's 8 more people.
Well, because the Punisher was like, you're talking crazy, man. And Doctor Strange is all like, psh, crazy's part of what I do.
Yeah, I hate when they make me have to look up shit because they want to be vague about it. Like when anytime Amadeus Cho is around, he's like, I'm the 8th smartest person. You're like, I gotta look up all the smart people.
Well, also, they're super vague about who they're working for. They keep saying, he didn't tell you, you didn't know.
That's not one of those build-ups. They're not telling you.
And he's like, what, you thought this crazy team up between the two of us, like this is Doctor Strange to the Punisher, you thought that this crazy team up between the two of us was it? Wait till you see the rest of the guys. And Punisher's like, there's more of them? Because, we know the whole team.
I was waiting on Doctor Strange to stop taking Punisher's shit, though. I'm surprised.
I don't think he ever really took his shit.
Well, he's just getting a gun pointed at him all the time. It's like, we're just teaming up. You're just like pointing a gun at me in a conversation. Why?
I think it's just he doesn't feel threatened by him.
Just turn the gun into like a water gun.
Yeah. Bubble gun like Thanos did.
Yeah. Anyway, so then Bucky just also vague shows up on the moon. He's like, I know you can hear me. I'm coming for you. And then disappears again. And he looks kind of fucking savage, holding, like he's got the Uwachu's eyeball hanging off of his belt on one side, and he's holding Nick Fury's severed head in his other hand. And for some, like, it makes no sense. He ports to the moon just to leave.
No, he does just go back in it. You know how, like, when you get in an elevator and it gets off on the wrong floor, and you got to kind of get out and pretend you were supposed to be there?
But the irony is his portal makes me keep thinking of an escalator. Like, I look at it, and for some reason, I just feel like he's on, like, a trans-dimensional escalator.
To me, it looks like air conditioning tubes.
It's a slide. Yeah, he's sliding down.
It's like, all right, time to go back and find out the son of a bitch who killed him. Whee!
Yeah. And then back to Black Panther and his team. And they're coming back up from under the Earth's surface, and Ant-Man's like, hey, man, you should probably slow down, because we're going to be at the crust of the Earth in a minute. And T'Challa's like, fuck you, you don't know what I'm doing.
You said punch it?
Fly it?
And then he breaks through the Earth's surface, and then the ship's like now transforming to spaceship mode. And it does that, just rockets right out into space.
We got that stupid Emma can't get into his mind. Really, that text was dumb, too.
Yeah?
It's like a bear trap wrapped in some barbed wire that someone set on fire.
Yeah.
It's like over the top because she tries to get into Black Panther's mind, which really didn't really try to get in there.
I mean, you could blame it on her psychic powers being broken, but they don't even remember that until this issue. Because she was, like, reading the minds of the fucking, the moloids and stuff.
Yeah, because I thought she was just talking to him in his brain, not like, because she doesn't do that. She doesn't just start reading people's minds against their will.
Yeah,
on their
she
team.
was. She just started speaking in his mind.
Yeah.
Like, basically calling him fancy and whatnot. And he's like, chop, you're mine. Fuck the fuck out of here. You think you're gonna talk to me without Lang hearing? You loop us all in. Ant-Man matters too.
He was also in on the call, though.
Because, yeah, that's what it sounded like. Emma's like, well, if you don't want to tell Ant-Man, just tell me.
So anyway, they're off into space, and they're also like, do you know something we don't, T'Challa? And he's like, no, and that's the problem. I gotta know more than you, and the fact that I don't bothers me. We don't know enough. And
I'm just as dumb as you guys.
And then this part was decent. Wolverine finds dead Fury and is like, well, shit.
You know what I find funny about this scene, though? Because they show him, like, over the dead body sniffing. And he's like, he's definitely dead. It's like, dude, his hand's chopped off and his head's gone.
Which is also a weird thing that Bucky went out of his way to cut the hand off. Like, that seemed like overkill.
Yeah, because we didn't see that. That was weird, too.
Yeah. And then Doctor Strange and Punisher are showing up in a portal, and Wolverine turns around and is like, hey, because he's got his claws out. He's like, hey, this is not what it looks like. And they're like, yeah, neither is this. And then they just trap Wolverine in some spell, and then Punisher shoots the Hulk, and the Hulk's like, that's not going to work. And he's like, yeah, but that might. And then the things he shot at the Hulk blow up, and he goes flying out.
I like
he's
that they're
all
not
right.
time released either. He has a remote control that blows him up.
But I also like, too, that like, all right, we need to hurry the fuck up and get out of here, because that thing's going to be back fast.
He's going to be mad.
So mad.
Hulk or Wolverine thought Bucky was dead, not Nick. But I just got to point that out because they don't even know they're working together.
Wolverine,
So, like,
why would,
during this-
no, he smelt Wolverine. Why would, I mean,
He's like, I'll be
Wolverine
damned.
smelt Bucky.
Thought he was dead. He thought Bucky was dead
Oh, yeah.
during this
Like,
period.
so he doesn't even know that he's,
working with them, like that
Yeah.
they're all in this together.
yeah,
Which I don't know what's going on. But isn't Bucky like always dead?
right?
Like he's dead, he's not dead. When isn't he dead?
Spoilers.
You
end
can't
of the
complain about
series.
that and be an X-Men fan.
Well, I mean, like people think he's dead and he's not really dead. That's what I mean.
So yeah, the orb is like, I might be able to help you find the answers you're looking for, because I want this eyeball you see. And
He's
it calls
fiending
to
out.
me. And at one point, I forget where it happened, but they asked, like, how do you even fucking talk? And he's like, yeah, I don't even know. It was really hard for me to figure that out. Initially, I was just making squishy sounds, but I got there.
Yeah.
Like, my head is the eyeball. I'm not wearing a mask. Like, it's straight up eyeball.
This is all, I'm 100% eyeball.
It's like speaking in armpit farts.
And it's like he's in love with that severed eyeball. He just needs it.
I know.
And it's like, it likes me. It likes the way I look at it.
I want to give it butterfly kisses.
Was a
I
stare
mean, if I
longingly.
had eyelashes. Oh no! It would literally be the thing you hate. Just two eyeballs touching
know.
each other. So, anyway, they take the orb and they're like, all right, well, he's going to lead us to where we got to go. And all the teams end up at the same secret space base at the same time. Doctor Strange and Punisher because the orb leads him there because he's got like a boner for it. T'Challa because he's like, let me look for the one thing that doesn't want to be found. And it's like some satellite station that's like unregistered and there's no intelligence on it. It's like, that must be the place we got to go. Like, because it's like, what's the thing that's trying really hard not to exist? And that's the right spot. And then I'm actually kind of spacing on how Gamora, like I get, Bucky gets there because he's already there.
Yeah.
He knew where he was going.
They kind of
the
glossed over it, but or at least how they got like a new ship, but they just
Rocket.
followed where they've. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Rocket.
she said she called a friend.
But yeah, they just followed. They weren't leading to something. They were just following Bucky.
How could they follow Bucky? That's the thing.
The trail he left of people's heads he cut off or something.
Weird.
His gamma bullets, they keep following those.
I mean, that's just the vaguest one. Like, how could they ever have followed him? He was, like, teleporting around and stuff, but whatever. They all end up there, and then they all end up fighting. Mainly because Gamora is like, hey, you're gonna die, guy who blew up the ship and left us stranded, you traitor bastard.
She was more like,
yeah. And because, of course, they show up, like, right as Bucky's like, alright, guys, I know this looks bad, but let me explain.
He's like, put down the head first, dude.
Right?
And he like attacks her with the head.
yeah, she got slapped with that head.
He does, like, punch her in the face, but with the head. And then
He's like Al Snow.
Emma Frost, remember, she has diamond powers, and then she hits Gamora and is like, we're in the middle of a thing, person.
Punisher also tells Bucky that he never liked him.
Yeah.
And threatens to shoot
Another
his
one.
kneecaps again. He like really likes those kneecaps.
That's the only thing about how they wrote Punisher in this at all that bugged me is that they let him take too much crap. Because the second that anybody starts talking a little bit of shit to Punisher, he will shoot out your kneecap.
Well, he has to with the superheroes.
Oh, he would still shoot them. They just bounce off.
No, but I mean, he has to with the superheroes because they can't let their superheroes just get kneecapped.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, it would be hilarious if it was happening. If Spider-Man was just getting kneecapped because he, like, said the wrong thing to the Punisher.
And plus, isn't he normally fighting street level dudes? Punisher.
Yeah.
No, depends. I mean, he's fought some crazy shit.
Well, there's that whole weird time where he was Frankenstein.
I just bought those books too. They're on their way.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not really probably trying to be getting his ass whooped.
He was also an Archangel once.
I think there's a whole, like, crossover thing where it's, like, him versus Deadpool versus Wolverine.
There's
I read that's
there's
pretty
Old
good.
Man Logan versus Deadpool, and then there's
It was like Frankencastle.
Punisher versus Deadpool, which is really good.
I could swear there's a Frankencastle versus Deadpool, and there's like a Wolverine tie-in thing.
I don't know about Frankencastle, but there's a straight up Punisher versus Deadpool book.
Anyway, so they're all fighting, and for a brief, Gamora goes to chop into, like, I like how you looked at me when I said stab, but with this face that, like, it's not a stab, and I had corrected myself to chop, and you're like, yup, it's a chop.
I wasn't even thinking anything.
No, I know, but
looked
it's
at
just
you.
like an intense, like, stare
I think you're
and
projecting
nod.
your own thoughts on me.
I know, I'm just saying how it looked. It's like it was an intense stare and nod. But anyway, he holds up Fury's head to block it, and it's like, see, it's a robot. It's an LMD, like the most sophisticated LMD ever.
It's weird that nobody believes him.
But
Like,
they were
before
listening-
they cut into it.
They were listening to him. He's like holding Fury's head, and nobody's thinking like, "This motherfucker."
Yeah.
They're all like, "So what do you got to say?" "Oh, you're holding the head. Cool."
Well, because this is the moment where it's revealed too that like they all knew they were working for Fury. Like, because Emily even says, like, "What are you even talking about? We're working for Fury. Like, this doesn't make any sense." And then out of the shadows, behind a door that's covering a bunch of shadows,
Shia LaBeouf.
is an old guy who's like, "Emma, my dear, you still are."
I'm Nick Fury.
Old man Fury.
Yeah.
Yep, and which I guess also means they're all working for Captain America. He's the real villain behind all this, because Nick Fury's working for Cap.
Well, the LMD was working for Cap. So, yeah. And apparently the LMD did more workouts or exercises or whatever's than the actual Nick Fury, because that dude is pretty fucking decrepit.
Well, they're modeled as if they still have the Infinity Formula, and he doesn't have the Infinity Formula anymore. So he like rapidly aged.
Nerd!
As he should. I mean, he's old as shit. But this is the
Are you making fun of me for knowing what I'm talking about?
A little bit.
the pointless stuff about like Bucky.
Brought
just,
up infinity formulas.
That's the one thing besides LMDs about Nick Fury that matters.
That's why he lives so long. That's why earlier he said he ate that steak in 1944.
Yep.
But like Bucky could have just explained himself early on. It was one of those things like, just to throw you off, I'm going to kill Nick Fury and run away and fight heroes, instead of just saying, hey, this isn't the real Nick Fury.
Well, he does say to Gamora that like he did it to protect them. So
Yeah, after they all started fighting, he blew up their ship instead of just telling them what he was doing. He goes there. The first thing he should have said is, this is not the real Nick Fury's head.
And it was that bullshit excuse of, I was protecting you.
Yeah.
That's why set a massive explosion near you and stranded you on a dead guy.
Well, maybe the idea is like keep them as far away from Nick Fury as possible. I'm not saying he didn't overdo it. He definitely overdid it. But he could have just like, I don't know, like unplugged a spark plug or something.
Well, it's for the story
spaceship.
so that we think Bucky is the one who's
Yeah.
bad.
But I mean, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of just inherently vague stuff to build suspense for reveals that are like, okay, yeah, I can definitely see how that's Nick Fury because you go back to that guy with the utility belt and it's definitely a dude wearing a shield uniform because it's all blue and white. And, yeah.
It's also definitely old Nick Fury.
Yeah. The eye patch.
Yeah, and the same coat.
Wearing that coat for years.
It's all I wear. You gonna change that coat? No, I don't think I will.
Well, he's cloning Nick Fury, so he's definitely cloning that coat.
Oh, and then T'Challa does have like that killer line of like, no, we're the secret.
Secret. So yeah, that was part 1 of Original Sin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were looking at me like I said something wrong.
0 through 4.
It's part 1.
Issues 0 through 4. Next week we're going to be covering the X-Men tie-ins, and then the week after that we'll finish the whole story of Original Sin. But yeah, we got...
I was going to say, I read the point 1, and it seemed like really weird, like it didn't tie in. It showed 2 people, which I would assume are Exterminatrix and Eye-Boy, going to steal like secrets from him.
Man.
Orb.
And they got some
Well,
information. They found information and showed Ultron. Does Age of Ultron happen around here?
Age of Ultron happened before this.
It wasn't too much before this, though.
So yeah, I don't really know how it tied in because it showed that basically it said that the Watcher shuts down every so often for 42 minutes. So they went in there during the 42 minutes and stole information from the Watcher. 2 people. And then their plan was to use that information and shit, but that was about it. They have masks on so you don't see who they are. They're in spacesuits.
That doesn't even make sense, though, because why would they wait for the 42 minutes if he was dead and they took his eyeball?
No, he was alive during this.
Well, exactly, but, like, they have his eyeball.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand.
So he had to have been dead when they actually got there, so the point 1 doesn't make sense if they're showing up before he's dead.
Well, I don't know who those 2 people were, because I assumed they would be Exterminatrix and Eye-Man, but they're not.
The
Obviously.
Orb.
Maybe they're the ones responsible for killing him.
Yeah, it could be
And we find that out next time.
the people who they work for.
Well, time after next time.
But we won't. Spoilers.
Well, yeah, I mean, because the time after next time is the second part of this.
No, I'm saying we won't find out that the Orb
Oh,
killed anybody.
well, I wasn't saying the orb.
No, we'll find out who did it.
Yeah.
Oh, we will find out who done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you'll hear a weird reason of why Thor drops his hammer.
Oh, okay.
It's called teasing to what's coming up.
Oh, okay.
Our social media, go check that out. Everything at Mex-Men Podcast. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
And TeePublic, buy stuff so we cannot be poor.
Yeah.
We'll still be poor.
We'll appreciate that. Not if they buy enough stuff.
Yeah. Buy one of everything and then do it again.
And then tell your closest friend. And then if you get 5 people, and those 5 people get 5 people, and those 5 people get 5 people, you would have just made us a bunch of money. Thank you very much, because this is not a pyramid scheme. You get merchandise, though. You get onesies and you get shirts. And
I almost feel like you're begging for money now.
I mean,
For less than the price of a cup of coffee a week, you could help Devin not have to go to work.
for exactly the price of a mug for coffee, you can give us a fraction of that cost.
And get a mug.
And
For
get a
coffee.
mug.
More importantly, though, subscribe to the podcast so that you download our episodes when they come out and you remember we're a thing. And share the episodes with your friends so more people will listen.
Yeah. Do that. Is that convincing?
Yep.
I feel convinced. I convinced myself. I'm about to download this.
All right.
I'm
Well,
not.
and yeah, also like our Twitter for updates on different stuff that we're working on. But yeah, that's for today.